Hey, it's Chris from Resurface. So I just wanted to show a couple workflows for using Resurface to go through your giant pile of API calls as they come in. So right now you can see I have loaded over 2,000 API calls. So it can get a little difficult to figure out what's important to look at and what's not. So one thing that I find useful is using a combination of filter and sort. So, for example, let's say we're just trying to see where people might be frustrated with our application. We're looking at coinbroker.io, which is a cryptocurrency trading API. And one thing that's immediately the first thing you could check is response code. So if we add a filter and look for response code is not 200, meaning it returns some sort of error, that immediately is one of the most useful. You can instantly see, okay, these are definitely not, this isn't good. This is somebody bumping into an error. They're probably going to be frustrated. But a little more subtle than that, something else you can look into is performance. So if we go ahead and clear that filter real quick and go into sort, you can see that by default we sort by response time. But if we want to clear that and instead sort by, let's see, interval milliseconds. If we want to sort by interval milliseconds, we can see which API calls are taking the longest. So now that we're sorting by that descending, we can click on one of these and look at, okay, this is a frustrated customer. Their interval is going to be 20, looks like 20 seconds here for that to come in. So yeah, that's clearly very frustrating. And we're sorting descending now, so we can look through and be like, okay, how bad is our performance looking? And of course you can filter by this as well. So if we want to go in here and say, okay, let's look for anybody that's over 6 seconds, we can do a filter and say, okay, if your interval milliseconds is greater than around 6,000, and then apply that, we can see still sorted in descending order for how long it takes. We can see the calls that took the longest time, and we can see that there were 76 calls that are over a 6-second response, which I can imagine is pretty frustrating. Now, there's still other filters and ways we can do this. We could look at just frustrated. So Resurface does a click here, an interval click. So if it's between 20 seconds and 30 seconds, then it's going to be in the category of a frustrated customer. So right out of the box, Resurface comes with a quick way to look at, okay, those are the people that are going to be the most upset because that's simply way too long to wait for a website to load. And we can look at just that. We can change the sort if we want and see, okay, who's loading faster, who's loading slower. And what's really great is we can just layer this stuff on top of each other. So we can go ahead and do a sort by response code as well. And see, all right, this is the very worst. These are the people that not only did it take 20 seconds for their API call to respond, but they also got hit with an error when it finally came back. So those are just a couple ideas, a couple things you can look at as you're trying to see what's going on in your APIs. I hope you got something useful out of this. If you have any other questions or interesting use cases for Resurface, hop into our Slack. It'll be in the description. And hit me up. Have a good one.